Ellie from APNIC.
All right. Okay, so by now, hopefully most of you in the room know me. Just in case you don't, I'm one of the Internet Resource Analysts that look at your Internet Resource requests once submitted to APNIC. So I'm going to quite try and quickly go through and let you know the main things you need to know about what's happening in APNIC, such as current IPv4 delegation trends, introduction of the IPv4 waiting list, and how this can actually affect your business operation, why IPv6, and the APNIC OS database upgrade. Okay, so here you can see the annual rate of IPv4 delegations. There was a marked increase in 2014 due to the result of the availability of address space from what we class as the IPv4 recovered pool. Now, from the first 4 months of last year, there was an increased level of delegations, which was similar to the rate which took place in 2015. So, what happened is this, from the 9th of June last year, we actually received the first approved request from the recovered pool, which we couldn't actually process. So what happened was it triggered the activation of the IPv4 waiting list. So the current IPv4 delegation practice now is you can receive the maximum of a /22 from the final /8. You can still apply for the maximum of /22 from the IPv4 recovered pool. However, you will be put onto a waiting list. Now, what does this mean for you? So what happens is, with the introduction of the IPv4 waiting list, is once additional IPv4 address space is added to the recovered pool, your request for IPv4 will be made according to your position on the waiting list. So here is an example of what the waiting list looks like. This information is publicly accessible on our website. You can see all requests are timestamped based on when they were approved. So when I get questions like, can you move my request up on the waiting list? As you can see, everything is clearly documented, so no, I can't. The other question I get a lot is, can you give me an estimate of the time of what it will take for my request to be approved? I have a project, a new service I need to roll out tomorrow. Sorry, I cannot give you an estimate, and please don't submit your request and then expect me to be able to actually provide you additional IPv4 address space the next day. So you can see the annual rate of IPv4 address transfers within the APNIC region and between other regions as well. So this is another way to source additional IPv4 address space. We have 9 registered brokers listed on our APNIC website to help facilitate IPv4 address transfers. APNIC, ARIN, and RIPE-NCC, we have all implemented compatible IPv4 transfer policies for inter-RAR transfers. At this time, LATNIC and APNIC have no inter-RAR transfer policies. However, there's a lot of policy discussion taking place within these regions. So why IPv6? Well, IPv6 is pretty much is the only viable option we have now to enable sustainable growth of the internet and to support the emergence of new technologies. So if I show you a graph of our member resource holdings, you can see actually our 96% of our members hold IPv4 address space in comparison with our 51% of our members who hold IPv6 address space. So there's a little way to go. And here you can see the annual rate of IPv6 delegations between each of the APNIC sub-regions. You can see there from last year there has been a slight increase in IPv6 delegations. So taking some data, you can see all of the data for NZ, such as the amount of routed space, number of prefixes visible. What we're doing is we're measuring end-user eyeballs. So this is a lot of work which George Michelson and Jeff is working on. So with measuring end-user eyeballs, we're able to see via advert that we are measuring end-user capability. A summary has actually been taken of all the measurements in the lab side, and then it's been put together to show a top set of high V6 capability, and then we've then taken the same list and sorted the number of samples, which is approximate of eyeballs, but not market share. And this is similar. Sample has been taken, set, and sorted accordingly by V6 capability to demonstrate whom is actually visible. Okay, so from here you can see 100% scaling of the level of uptake within New Zealand, and you can see on the screen the significant IPv6 capable ASNs within New Zealand. Delving a little bit deeper, you can see the top New Zealand ASN sorted by V6 capability. So highlighted are some companies who are recognised participants in customer-facing services. However, that's to say others are not. And here you can see the top NZ ASN sorted by market share. So this is a list sorted by eyeball share. So basically it's a list of ISPs. On this list you can see actually some public companies with no visible activity that is going on to achieve V6 on their customer base. Okay, so one good news story from outside of this sub-region, which has been included, is from Veralliance. So this is an ISP in India, okay, which has basically gone from 0 to hero. They have clean build LTE. They're now top within the nation. They provide free voice calls, and what they've actually done is moved India to the top IPv6 nation. So helping, using this data that we've gathered to put in perspective and 100% scaling of IPv6 capable within, you can see with the IPv6 capability within Australia in comparison with New Zealand and India. Okay, moving right along. The other thing I need to make you aware of is we're going to be upgrading the APNIC Whois database to Whois version 4. It's been quite a long time since we've performed an upgrade. The main features of this upgrade have all been documented on the website. The main point I need to make you aware of, which will affect people in this room, is the implementation of an organisation object, which I'm going to quickly go into detail about next few slides. The other project that we're working on is Whowas. So this is a project which will actually provide public data in regards to your resources. Okay, so I mentioned about the implementation of an organisation object. here you can see an example of the kind of information that it will contain. It will provide information about an organisation that has been delegated resources within the APNIC WHOIS database. Okay, so this object will hold business name, contact information and location, etc. Now, one of the common questions that I get is, okay, the contact who is registered for our resources has left the organisation. Is there any easy way for me to find out what resources are linked to organisation and what resources they've been linked in? Well, this is one of the advantages of for an organisation, as its purpose is to map all the resources to an organisation and vice versa. So every other object will reference this. And these organisation objects will be inserted within your resource objects for IPv4 address space, IPv6 address space, and AS numbers. Okay, so the WHOIS upgrade will be live the first quarter. So we're looking at now implementation of the upgrade of the backend in April. Because of the work that will be involved in implementing an organisation object, there'll be a number of background tasks going on. So for example, we'll be using scripts to generate organisation data. We'll be contacting our members to see if the data that we've generated is correct. We'll give our members designated period of time for them to respond before these organisation objects are actually visible within the APNIC WHOIS database. So we're looking at June for these organisation objects to be publicly visible. Last thing I want to make you aware of is Apricot 2017 will be taking place from 20th of February to the 2nd of March. You're all invited. Please don't forget you can watch remotely, and you can also participate and ask speakers questions over chat. And the other reminder is, because there's a number of members in the room, about the APNIC Executive Council election. So some key dates is the 14th of February, EC nominations will close. 16th, from the 16th to 28th of Feb, EC online voting and proxy voting can take place. And 2nd of March is when, if you're there in person, you can vote on site. And bear in mind, if you wish to vote, your corporate contact details need to be up to date. So I know you're probably all very hungry, so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Sure.
Ellie, is APNIC going to make sure that an organization is attached to every ASN?
Okay, yes. So an organisation object will be attached, referenced within a INET-num object for IPv4 address space, ORT-num object for AS numbers, and an INET6-num object for IPv6 address space. So within all resource objects. Any other questions? If you think of any questions later, please feel free to come up and talk to me in person. Thank you.